Hi all. Today we can discuss about the topic Fourier transform. In the last videos we have seen about Fourier series. In the discussion of Fourier series we have seen that a periodic function can be expressed as a series of sines, cosines or some complex exponential. Then the Fourier coefficients are a set of harmonics, that is a discrete set of frequencies. Now, if the function is not periodic, for example, a flash of light that is not repeated, a single voltage pulse that is not repeated, or a sound wave that is not repeated, then can we represent such aperiodic signals, something that is analogous to this Fourier series? Yes, we can. There it comes the Fourier transform. In Fourier series, we have seen that the frequencies are discrete, that is enough, one fundamental frequencies, and others are overtones as the multiples of fundamental frequency. Now again, can we extend the Fourier series in the case of some continuous signals? Here also the importance of Fourier transforms comes. The Fourier transform is very important in signal processing because it transforms the function from one domain to the other domain. Mathematically, it can express as 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. That is, we have a function f of t. We are transforming this from one domain to the other domain. Here it is time domain to the omega domain, that is frequency domain. Then here in correspondence to this Fourier transform, there is an inverse too. What is that inverse transform? That is f of t, that is from frequency domain to the time domain. F of t is equal to 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to plus infinity g omega. It is e raised to minus I omega t in Fourier transform. In inverse it comes e raised to plus I omega t, and this is with respect to omega, d omega. Okay, this is known as the inverse Fourier transform. In Fourier series, we have defined this expressions over a period. But in Fourier transform, no periodicity is required there. No particular periodicity is required there. The function we are defining over an infinite interval and no particular periodicity is required there. That means we can apply this Fourier transform in the case of aperiodic functions too. That is the signals which are not periodic. Now, in Fourier series, we have seen that there are some conditions for the existence of these expressions, Fourier series. Here also there are some conditions for the existence of Fourier transform, same as that of Fourier series. These conditions are known as the Dirichlet conditions, and we explained this in the Fourier series too. Three main conditions are there. The first condition is it have finite number of maxima and minima over any finite interval. In the case of Fourier series, it was over the period because we defined it over the period 2 pi or 2l, minus pi to pi or 0 to 2 pi we have defined it. Here there is no periodicity is required. So over any finite interval, finite number of maxima and minima is required, and finite number of discontinuities over any finite interval. And the other last condition is it must have an absolutely integrable function. That is, if we define it over from the interval minus infinity to f of plus infinity, the f of t dt is finite. That is, the answer must be less than infinity. Okay. Some others are used in the Fourier transform expression 1 by root 2 pi here in the mathematical physics by Satyaprakash, Riley's mathematical books and all. They have used the arbitrary constant 1 by root 2 pi, and in some textbooks, the Medial Bose, this 1 by root 2 pi is not there. The direct expression is minus infinity to plus infinity f of t raised to minus I omega t dt. But in that case, inverse Fourier transform will be not 1 by root 2 pi, 1 by 2 pi. The condition is that whatever we are using the constant, the product of this constant in the Fourier transform and the inverse Fourier transform must be 1 by 2 pi. Here it is 1 by root 2 pi into 1 by root 2 pi is 1 by 2 pi. And in some engineering mathematics books also you can see that in the Fourier transform expression they have used the e raised to plus I omega t, and in the inverse Fourier transform they have used e raised to minus I omega t. So one is if it is minus, here it will be plus. So most of competitive examinations nowadays, they are directly giving this Fourier transform expression. You use this expression f of t raised to minus I omega or f of t e raised to plus I omega t. That time we have to use whatever the conditions they had given. So it will become more clear after doing some numericals. We can see some numericals based on these. See this question. Find the Fourier transform of exponential decay function f of t which is equal to 0 for t less than 0 and f of t which is equal to a e raised to minus lambda t for t greater than or equal to 0. So we have to find out the Fourier transform, that is f of t is equal to 0 for t less than 0 and for t greater than or equal to 0 it is equal to a e raised to minus lambda t. So the Fourier transform of the given function is, we can use the general expression, it is equal to g omega is equal to 1 by root 2 pi integral minus infinity to plus infinity f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. Okay, so here this f of t function over the interval from minus infinity to plus infinity, we can split into two because they are given two conditions, t less than 0 and t greater than 0. So we can use we can split this into two, that is 1 by root 2 pi. The minus infinity to plus infinity is minus infinity to 0 plus 0 to infinity. Then if it is minus infinity to 0, that is t less than 0, the function is 0, 0. Then if t greater than or equal to 0, the function f of t is a e raised to minus lambda t. Here it is e raised to minus I omega t dt. Here is also e raised to minus I omega t dt. So it is equal to 1 by root 2 pi into this completely becomes 0. Then a e raised to minus lambda t. 0 to infinity, we can take the t common, so minus into lambda plus I omega into t dt. On integrating, we are getting a by root 2 pi. Here the integration is e raised to minus lambda plus I omega into t divided by minus lambda plus I omega from the limit 0 to infinity. Now it is a by root 2 pi into e raised to, here t is infinity, so minus infinity minus here t, we can apply 0, that is e raised to 0 divided by minus lambda plus I omega. Now we know that e raised to minus infinity is 0, e raised to 0 is 1, so this is minus 1, here also minus 1 minus is there, so what we are getting, it is equal to a by root 2 pi into minus minus plus into lambda plus I omega. So this is the Fourier transform of the given exponential function. Okay, we can see one more problem. In this question, find the Fourier transform of f of t is equal to e raised to minus a mod t for minus infinity to plus infinity, and this constant a is greater than 0. So the function is f of t is equal to e raised to minus at. So what is the meaning of that minus a mod t? So we can consider two cases, t less than 0 and t greater than 0. If t less than 0, it becomes negative and the function will be e raised to plus at. If t greater than 0, t is positive, then the function will be e raised to minus at. So here also we can split the minus infinity to plus infinity into two integrals, that is the Fourier transform of the given function f of t is equal to g omega is equal to 1 by root 2 pi, here it is minus infinity to plus infinity f of t, that is what is our f of t, e raised to minus a mod t, e raised to minus a mod t into e raised to minus I omega t dt. So what is our function over the two integrals, that is from minus infinity to 0 and from 0 to infinity. From minus infinity to 0 means t less than 0. So this will become e raised to a t into e raised to minus I omega t dt, and from 0 to infinity t greater than 0. So this function will be e raised to minus a t into e raised to minus I omega t dt. So now we can just combine this and simple integration, that is 1 by root 2 pi integral minus infinity to 0 e raised to a minus I omega into t dt plus 0 to infinity e raised to minus into a plus I omega into t dt. So it is equal to 1 by root 2 pi. Here the integration is e raised to a minus I omega into t divided by a minus I omega from the limit 0 minus infinity to 0 plus here it is e raised to minus into a plus I omega into t divided by minus a plus I omega from the limit 0 to infinity. Now we can apply the limit 1 by root 2 pi. Here it is e raised to upper limit is 0, that is e raised to 0, that becomes 1 minus lower limit t is minus infinity, so it becomes e raised to minus infinity. What is the value of e raised to minus infinity? 0. So it becomes 0 divided by a minus I omega plus here on applying the upper limit t is infinity, here it is minus infinity, e raised to minus infinity is 0 minus lower limit t is 0, so e raised to 0 is 1 divided by minus into a plus I omega. On simplifying, we are getting 1 by root 2 pi into this minus and minus, it becomes plus. So we can take the LCM here. So what will be, we are getting a plus I omega into a minus I omega. The numerator, it is a plus I omega plus a minus I omega. Now this I omega term cancel, and we are getting 2a divided by a plus a, 2a divided by root 2 pi into a square minus a plus b into a minus b. So a square minus I square omega square, that is this 2 and by root 2. So we can write this as a root of 2 by pi into a divided by a square. A square is minus 1 into minus plus, so a square plus omega square. So the Fourier transform of the given exponential function is root of 2 by pi a by a square plus omega square. This comes under this Fourier transform comes under the category of integral transformation. We have studied this integral transformation earlier too, that is the Laplace transformation. In Laplace transformation we have discussed from 0 to infinity, and there the expression was f of t e raised to minus st dt. Here the only difference is that in Laplace transform we have used s. Now in Fourier transform, this s we are replacing by the minus I omega. Now we can see about infinite Fourier sine and cosine transform. So this comes from the general transform equation only. Here we are applying the concept of even and odd function. So what is the general formula for the Fourier transform? Fourier transform of f of t is equal to g omega equal to 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to plus infinity f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. Okay, here we use the function f of t. The Fourier transform from time domain to the frequency domain is 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity f of t raised to minus I omega t dt. Now we can make this function, we can split this function into two, that is from minus infinity to 0 and from 0 to infinity. That is g omega is equal to 1 by root 2 pi into, here the function we are splitting from minus infinity to 0 and from 0 to infinity. Here f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. Here also f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are making the limit of both the terms same. So here we are keeping the second term as such, that is 0 to infinity f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. Here it is 1 by root 2 pi. Now we are changing the limit of the first term similar to that of the second term. So now the limit here is from minus infinity to 0. So what we are doing, first we are changing the limits, that is we are changing the upper limit to lower and lower limit to upper. So this is minus infinity to 0, then what it will become 0 to minus infinity. When we change the limits, what we have to do, we have to apply a negative sign. So we are applying a negative sign, f of t e raised to minus I omega t dt. Okay, now we are changing the sign of the limit, that is here it is 0 to infinity, 0 to minus infinity. In order to make it same, we are changing the sign of the limit, minus infinity into plus infinity. When we change the sign of the limit, we have to change the sign of the variable too. So what is the variable here? T. So wherever t is there in that term, we have to change that sign. So here f of t becomes f of minus t. Here t become minus t, so it become plus t. This dt becomes minus dt. So already one minus is here, so that becomes plus t. So what we have done is we have changed the sign of the limit and shifted the limit too. So now we can combine this function by applying the concept of odd and even. That is, case 1 is if f of t is even. If f of t is even and if f of t is odd, what happens? Okay, if f of t is even, what we have studied is f of minus t is equal to f of t. If f of t is odd, f of minus t is equal to minus f of t. So we can apply these conditions here. So what we are getting? So g of omega is equal to, if in the function is even, this f of minus t becomes f of t. So how can we combine this? 1 by root 2 pi, my f of minus t becomes f of t. So on combining both the terms, this becomes 0 to infinity f of t e raised to I omega t. Here it is same 0 to infinity f of t plus the difference is only e raised to minus I omega t dt. Okay, so this becomes 1 by root 2 pi integral 0 to infinity f of t. What is this? E raised to I omega t plus e raised to minus I omega t. If there is 1 by 2 term divided by 2 there, then it will be the hyperbolic cosine function. So this e raised to I omega t plus e raised to minus I omega t by 2 is cos omega t. So what we can write here? This is 2 cos omega t dt. So we can take the 2 outside, then what we are getting? 2 by root 2, that is root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity f of t cos omega t dt. This transformation is known as the cosine Fourier transformation. This transformation is known as the cosine. In order to denote this cos, we are writing GC omega. The cosine infinite Fourier transformation expression is GC omega is equal to root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity f of t cos omega t. What we have applied here? We applied the concept of even function. Similarly, if we apply the concept of the odd function, what we are getting is here f g of omega is equal to 1 by root 2 pi. Here f of minus t is minus f of t. So this is minus term. This term become minus. So on combining this, what we are getting? F of t into this is minus term. So first we can write the plus term, e raised to minus I omega t. This is minus e raised to I omega t into dt. So what is this expression? 1 by root 2 pi into f of t into e raised to minus I omega t plus minus e raised to I omega t. There we are taking one minus outside. What we are getting is 2i sin omega t. That is, it is minus 2i sin omega t dt. Okay, so I am taking this 2 outside, so it will become root of 2 by root 2 is root of 2 by pi. Here one integral also there, 0 to infinity. Okay, integral 0 to infinity f of t into sine omega t dt. One term is there that we are not including here, minus I. Minus I means 1 by I term that we are absorbing into this g omega, and we can write this expression as gs omega is equal to root of 2 by pi 0 to infinity f of t sine omega t dt, and this expression is known as the Fourier sine transformation. This is Fourier cosine transformation. This is Fourier sine transformation. In Fourier cosine transformations, there is a cos term is there. We have applied the concept of even function. In Fourier sine transformations, a sine term is there. We have applied the concept of the odd function. Similar to the general inverse Fourier expression, here also we can write the inverse Fourier expression. What is that inverse Fourier transformation? That is from gc omega we can write the function f of t. So what will be that? F of t is equal to root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity. Instead of f of t, what we have to write? gc omega into cos omega t. The integration will be with respect to dt or d omega. Okay, now here the inverse will be f of t is equal to root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity gs omega into sine omega t d omega. Okay, so this is about the Fourier sine and cosine transformation. So we can do some problems based on the infinite sine and cosine transform. Okay, see this question. Find the Fourier sine and cosine transformation of the function f of t is equal to k if 0 less than t less than a, and 0 if t greater than a. So what we have to find out? We have to find out the Fourier sine and cosine transform. So first is Fourier sine transform. Also we have to find out the Fourier cosine transform. Okay, so what is the expression for the Fourier sine transform? Fourier sine transform is gs omega is equal to root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity f of t sine omega t dt. Okay, in the general expression for Fourier transformation, it is 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity f of t raised to minus I omega t dt. In Fourier sine transformation, it is root of 2 by pi 0 to infinity f of t sine omega t dt. In Fourier cosine transformation, expression is gc omega is equal to integral 0 to infinity f of t root of 2 by pi. Root of 2 by pi 0 to infinity f of t cos omega t dt. Okay, so it is equal to the Fourier sine transformation root of 2 by pi. Here integral 0 to infinity we can split into 2 because from 0 to a and from a to infinity. So here it is 0 to a and from a to infinity. From a to infinity means t greater than a. What is that function? That is 0. Okay, so that term will cancel. So only we have to take the integral from 0 to a. From 0 to a, what is the function there? K. So k sine omega t dt. Okay, so it becomes root of 2 by pi k constant sine omega t integral is minus cos omega t divided by omega from the limit 0 to a. So on applying the limits, we are getting root of 2 by pi k into minus cos omega we can take outside by omega minus cos omega a minus cos omega cos 0. Okay, already one minus is there. So 2 by pi k omega into what is cos 0? 1 minus minus plus 1 minus cos omega a. So this is the Fourier sine transformation of the given question. Now what we have to find out? Fourier cosine transformation. That is root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity. So we can split the 0 to infinity from 0 to a and from a to infinity. And a to infinity the function is 0. So only we have to write the 0 to a term f of t is k into cos omega t dt. Okay, that is root of 2 by pi into k into cos omega t integral is sin omega t divided by omega from the limit 0 to a, that is root of 2 by pi k, this omega we can take outside, sin omega t, that is sin omega a minus sin 0. Okay, what is sin 0? Sin 0 is 0. So what we are getting, the cosine transformation is root of 2 by pi k by omega sin omega a. Okay. Now we can see the properties of Fourier transform. These properties are similar to what we studied in Laplace transform. The first property is linearity property. The linearity property we can see in most of the mathematical operation. That is a function, that is a combination of different functions, that is a1 f1t plus a2 f2t plus etc. Then the Fourier transform of this function g omega, g omega is a Fourier transform of the function f of t. Then it is equal to a1 into g1 omega plus a2 into g2 omega plus etc. Where a1, a2, a3 etc. are constant. g1 omega is the Fourier transform of f1t, g2 omega is the Fourier transform of f2t. This property is known as the linearity property. The same property we seen in this Laplace transform too. And the second property is change of scale property. Okay, this theorem is also known as similarity theorem. Okay, this theorem is also known as similarity theorem. In change of scale property, if the function is scaled by a parameter, that is f of t is the given function, then t is scaled by the parameter a, then what will be the Fourier transform of that function scaled by the parameter? Then it is equal to 1 by a g omega by a. In Laplace transform, the same theorem we studied, that is in Laplace transform, the Laplace transformation of the function f of a t is equal to 1 by a f of s by a. Okay, where the f of s was the Laplace transform of the function f of t. Similar to the Laplace transformation, here the Fourier transformation of f of a t is equal to 1 by a g of omega by a. Now the shifting property, there are two shifting property. Here the shifting is on the parameter, on time, that is t term. So this is known as time shifting. This is time shifting. Okay, so here the time is shifted by a parameter a, f of t minus a. Then the Fourier transform will be e raised to minus I omega a g omega. That is g omega is the Fourier transform of the function f of t. So that is when the time is shifted by a parameter, there will be no change in the Fourier transform of the function, but there is a corresponding phase change with it, that is e raised to minus I omega corresponds to a phase. So there will be a phase change in accordance with the shifting of this time, and if it is t plus a, suppose if it is t plus a, this will be e raised to plus I omega a into g omega. This is known as time shifting property. And in the next case, the shifting occurs in the frequency term. So that's frequency shifting, that is the function that is multiplied by e raised to iat, then the Fourier transform is g of omega minus a, that is the frequency shifted by the parameter a. That is the same thing we studied in Laplace transform. The Laplace transform of e raised to at f of t, it was f of s minus a, there the s parameter was shifted by a. Also this we have studied as a Heaviside theorem in Laplace transformation. Now the derivative property. The derivative property is the nth derivative of the Fourier transform of the given function is same as the Fourier transform of the function multiplied by some powers of the nth power of the t. That is minus I raised to n Fourier transform of t raised to n f of t is dn g omega d omega n. Or we can write the same theorem as like this also. Fourier transform of t raised to n f of t is equal to, in this side it becomes I raised to n dn g omega by d omega raised to n. That is Fourier transform of the function multiplied by some powers of t is I raised to n dn g omega by dt d omega raised to n. The same theorem we studied in Laplace transform as Laplace transform of t raised to n f of t. Do you remember that? That is here, there it was minus 1 raised to n, minus 1 raised to n dn fs by ds raised to n. This we studied in the case of Laplace transform. Okay, and another property is Fourier transform of derivative of a function. The Fourier transform of the derivative of a function is I omega into Fourier transform of that function. What is g omega? G omega is the Fourier transform of that function. Suppose we are taking the nth derivative of the given function, that is dnf by dtn. dnf, this is the function f. Okay, suppose we are taking the nth derivative of the given function, then this term will become I omega raised to n g omega. Okay, one more property we can study, that is the complex conjugate. The Fourier transform of the complex conjugate of the given function will be the complex conjugate of the Fourier transform of that function. That is, if you want to find out the Fourier transform of the complex conjugate of the given function, that will be the complex conjugate of the Fourier transform of that function itself. Okay, these are about the properties of Fourier transform. So try more questions about this. All the best.